This is the apartment of a man named Jeffries, a news photographer whose beat used to be the world. Right now, his world has shrunk down to the size of this window. He's been watching the people across the way. Nobody seems to pull their blinds during a hot spell like this. He knows a lot about them by now. Too much, perhaps. For instance, down there on the second floor, the woman pacing about. He calls her Miss Lonely Hearts. So lonely that even death seems like a friend. These are the newlyweds on a honeymoon no one will ever forget. He calls her Miss Hearing Aid, an artist of a very odd and strange art. The songwriter who plays the same melody over and over again. A genius or insane? This is the traveling salesman and his invalid wife. Out of their arguments and nagging comes a weird kind of love. Miss Torso, the body beautiful. That is, viewed from a safe distance.
Those are just a few of my neighbors. First, I watched them just to kill time, but then I couldn't take my eyes off them, just as you won't be able to.
And you won't be able to take your eyes off the glowing beauty of Grace Kelly, who shares the heart and curiosity of James Stewart in this story of a romance shadowed by the terror of a horrifying secret.
Rear Window. Freddie Hitchcock.
Old one.
Do people call him Freddie?
No,
Or is
but
that just a you and you're tight?
So I always thought if I was a DJ, my name would be Freddie Cox because Freddy Krueger and Alfred Hitchcock. I think it would be a fun one. So that I always thought that would be my DJ name.
I don't think people would get it unless you explained it.
Exactly.
Like it.
Which is fine. I think you guys would get it. That's all I really care about.
Yeah.
But
I
it would
wouldn't
be
even
Cox
think
with
of
an
Freddy
X. It would-
Krueger.
What?
Yeah, I wouldn't even think Freddy Krueger. I would just think Alfred Hitchcock.
It's
like
kind of
Freddy
both,
Cox.
but yeah, Freddie Cox.
Yeah. All right.
DJ Freddie Cox.
Now you guys haven't seen this before, correct?
No,
Not since it came out.
You saw it in theaters in 1964.
Yeah. I thought it was 54, Joe.
Oh,
It is
you're right.
54. It is.
Oh,
I was gonna let it slide. I didn't want to embarrass him. But I didn't.
No, we got to embarrass him.
I'm leaving this podcast right now. I literally have a
But yeah,
tattoo of this on my body.
This is true. You do. I have not seen this one. The two Hitchcock films I've seen are Psycho, obviously, and then I saw Frenzy. But this one was new, but I loved this actually. Like
You did. Cool.
I did. And it didn't feel like it was made in 1954. Like it held my attention really well. I know they always say Hitchcock's the master of suspense. And I feel like this is probably at least the best example I've seen of it so far. Cause like it really held my attention the entire movie, which for older movies, that doesn't always happen. So
Totally.
that's something.
Yeah.
Is it true that this came out in black and white and then was colorized later?
It's a great. I don't know for sure. I know they wanted it to be color originally, but I think like
Because I
Budget.
watched it in the color, whatever rented.
yeah.
I just wasn't sure if it was black and white when it.
I've never
actually
seen
came
a
out.
black and white version. I don't know if it exists, but
I mean, they had the technology at this point, I think. Like
yeah.
Yeah.
the first movie with color was
Technicolor was Wizard of Oz.
that's I don't know why I was drawing a blank on that. But that was in the like late 1930s.
39, I believe it was.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So-
Well, it's interesting because Psycho was 1960 and that was black and white. And I think it was because the studio didn't want him to make the movie. Basically, they were like, this is not going to be successful. So he didn't really have the budget for color. Also, I think he wanted to be black and white, which I'm glad he did because it just, for some reason, it works better black and white. But this movie, I'm so glad it's color because it looks so good.
The other thing that I like, you're right. It looked amazing. Plus, like the set was, I mean, I'm assuming this is a set.
Yeah,
but,
it's all set.
like everything took place out of this guy's window. So like, but they were also all really like long panning shots, which I thought was really cool. The detail was really good, but like it probably was like it was a single set really where everything took place. So it was probably not, terribly complicated in terms of you get your set and then you're good to go. You just film the whole movie right there. but
Right. Yeah.
but there's a lot going on there too. So like
A lot going on, which is what I like about it. I think it's so fascinating. Like you're literally from his perspective the entire movie. And it's like, it's basically like how it is in real life. Like you're looking out a window and it's like how it is. It's super cool. Like you don't really see these people's lives. You don't go into their apartments at all or anything. It's like, I don't know. I think it's fascinating.
I don't necessarily have the like, creeping into people's window thing as something I relate to people, but like being at home for the past like year or two, I definitely like, there's like one neighbor that I'm like, yep, it's their time where they go to walk the dog. It's like 8:30 every morning. And so like you do kind of like tune into, whatever's going on in your neighborhood. So in some ways I related to that, but I'm also like, yeah, but this might be crossing a line into something that's like borderline creepy, but
then again, they didn't have
creepy,
phones
but-
or anything really back then, or computers. So it's
Yeah.
kind of like,
Yeah, I mean, people
But
watching.
it's
is, like,
also a
everyone's
city.
favorite thing to do.
yeah.
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 Looks like a
I
great
remember
apartment
in-
complex to live in, though. I would
Honestly.
love to live in that apartment complex.
So that's fun. Like a lot of different people, but all like that musician's
so
apartment,
good.
that looked like a spot to be. You know?
The,
What were you saying?
I had in my place in Portland, there was just another apartment building across the street with like the same level, so you saw everything. And there was one couple who like they got a kitten, and it would always hang out in the window, and it just like as through my time, you just like watch the kitten grow up, and stuff like that. And it's just like funny. You're like, yeah, I've never even run into these people on the streets, but it's like,
But you
just-
know part of their life.
yeah. And then I pulled out my big telescopic photograph, and it was, I did wonder though, I was like, but they never are looking back at him. I always wonder, you eventually see them looking back and you're like, hey, what's going on, neighbor? He's just over there with his like camera spying on people, and they're just like
Mhm.
da 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 da.
Right. Speaking of that piano player, though, he was I don't know if you guys read this or not, but he was the creator and the voices of Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Whoa.
Fun fact.
That's
I didn't know that.
That's cool.
That's a trivia question right there.
Oh yeah. So he's a little cameo. Did you see Hitchcock's cameo? He's in all of his movies.
No, I didn't.
He's in the piano player's room
Huh.
at one point early on. But he likes to sneak himself in there, and I appreciate that. But so wait, Jesse, so what did you think? Because Joe said
It wasn't that
he-
funny.
Sorry, it's not Bowfinger.
It's no Bowfinger.
It's
Yeah.
okay. I was gonna find a way.
You can still find a way.
Yeah, like not a great comedy, but it it was better than I thought I would think it would be. But I also like when I think of Hitchcock, I still think of like I think Psycho is what I think of. Very much so. I knew it wasn't like Psycho because I had kind of known what the movie was. But it was better than I thought. Especially from 1954, you tell me a movie I'm watching, I'm not expecting this. Like I also get why when it came out, did it get a really good reception or did it
Got
take
4
a while?
Oscar noms. Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Oh yeah.
Noms or win?
I didn't win anything. No.
Ooh.
And do you know what's crazy about
food.
that?
You get the noms.
Yeah, it's good to
It's-
noms. But do you know what's crazy about that? It wasn't nominated for set design or anything. I was like,
That's
that should be the
that
first
was one
one.
of the best parts. Yeah.
Yeah, and the costumes. Grace Kelly's costumes were incredible.
What do you know what it was nominated for?
Yep, it was cinematography, sound, screenplay, and director. So
All right. Cool. Also, quick too. What was this his first movie that was like nominated, or like what was his first thing that
this
was
was like one of his
nominated?
last movies. Like Spellbound,
okay.
Rebecca, Psycho was nominated. Although Psycho was after.
Oh, even okay.
But this is one of his like I'm gonna say
Later.
latter films, but yeah.
I just never knew how him and the Academy got along.
He never won Best Director. He won like an honorary award, but he was nominated 5 times and never won.
It's like
But
the Leo
Rebecca
of
won
his
Best
ages.
Picture, but he never won Best Director.
All
So
right, well, maybe someday.
maybe someday
maybe-
his next film's coming out next
just
year.
keep at it, buddy. Yeah, I don't know how I liked it, but I didn't love it. It was like a good, like, it feels like a classic though. You should watch. Like, I probably won't rewatch this, but like, I'm very glad. And it's like a class. It's like a classic book, like that they'd make you read, and I would normally hate all of them, but it's like one where I'm like, oh, that was.
Makes
I probably
sense.
won't go back to it, but like, this is good, and I get why it is a classic. You know, like,
Right.
for sure.
It's hard because like it's like nowadays it's like you watch and you're like, oh, what's so special about it? But like when it came out, it was such a staple. Like that the perspective thing wasn't really a thing back then. It was like, I don't know how he uses like what I loved about it. What I love about this movie is, I mean, one of the many things is like how there's really no music. There's no soundtrack. It's all organic sounds. It's all like cars and piano playing. I love that because like you're still like Joe was saying, it's still suspenseful and your attention's still grabbed, even though there's no music or anything. It's like it's insane how he does it. Like I get why that he's a
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, to that point of like, it's like when they're moving around, the sound changes with like what you're looking at, obviously. But it, like, there was one in particular long pan where like you're looking at like the musician's apartment, then you come over up to the balcony where the people were sleeping, then they put the dog in the basket, then they lower the dog down, and the camera's just following it the entire time. And all along the way, you're getting these different sounds. So it, you know, there's no music that's like tying it all together. It's literally just whatever sound of whatever you're looking at.
right.
And it takes, it's like a long time, but not too long. Like I think it, you know, it's just a slow pan, and it takes maybe like 20 to 30 seconds to get through the entire like left to right. But it gives you a sense of what everyone is doing.
Right. And what I found fascinating about these is like everything is like so particular and there's so much detail. Like in the background, like at that bar, you can like during the day, kids are playing like by the fire hydrant and you can see them running in the background, and like cars are driving by. Like it's crazy. Like every specific part of the scene has something going on, which is, I think it's super cool.
I love the fact that you can't hear like all the people talk and stuff, you know, and like when he
Right.
breaks into his place and stuff, you're just watching it like, you know, like he would. And but I love all these tiny things too that I think are funny, like when he called the police, you know, and he's like, get me the whatever precinct, and then they kind of just like never picked up, but they were that like it. There's just some points where I'm like, wait, what happened? Like I know he said he called the police, and then he called someone else. Or I also love like just these random like one lines that seemed so strange to me, but they weren't. Like when Grace Kelly walks in once, and she's wearing a hat and like one of those things over her face and stuff, and he just goes, "What did you do to your hair?" And then she's like, "Never mind." It keeps going, and I'm like, "What? Her hair's up? What?" Like,
Yep.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, Jimmy Stewart is one of my favorites, but it's so funny watching these older movies because I feel like the guy's always like 20 to 30 years older than the girl. Like there's always a huge age difference.
My mom was always like, why would she be going out with it? Like, what is he? And I was like, he's a photographer. And she's like, but why would? And she's like, well, it's a Hitchcock movie back in the day. Like, of course. It's
yeah, I don't know. And it's like, I don't know. It's also funny to see like in these older movies because like, I don't know, you're so used to watching things with like phones and internet and everything. It's like interesting to see like how they handled things back then. Like what I loved is when like, and you don't really get this unless you kind of know that era, but like when he was dialing long distance, like you wouldn't know that, but clearly he knew because there was a certain amount of things he did, like actions he would dial. I was like, I didn't know that, but clearly at that time people would know that. So it's just interesting how they handle that. But I also really liked how it was almost like, because like, you know, throughout kind of when they were starting to figure out that Thornwald was like killer or whatever, I was like, why wouldn't he just shut the blinds or, you know, all that stuff. But then they brought it up later on. Like, I like how they kind of answered some of my questions. They were like, you know, why would he, like the detective was basically like, why would he kill someone with all of his windows open? And but he did. So it's like, it's almost like they answer your questions, but they're still doing it. I don't know. I thought that was fun because they kind of answer your questions as you kind of, or my questions at least, as you kind of go through. Because a lot of times not gonna say it's a horror movie, but like a thriller or horror movie, everyone's like, why would you do that? Why would you, you know, why would you yell or run or whatever? But I don't know.
I do love the like that the note he wrote where it's like Thornwall.
Yeah.
Like, we know what you did. I was like, it's like, so talk about just like the time too, of like how funny it would be in a day to day, like something produced today that took place today, to be like, I'm gonna write this really big with my pencil and then fold it up, put it in.
Isn't that
But it's
weird?
like, why don't you just text him? I don't get it.
Right.
But yeah, there's definitely a bunch of funny things now, like just from the age difference.
It's so fun. That's why I love watching these old movies, because it's like I always pick up on new stuff every time I watch them. Like, oh, that's how they did that, or oh, that's how they talked. Even like, it's just it's so funny. But
you think of like the whole thing, like I'll call the landline when
right,
when the guy's coming back, and it's like, just call a cell phone, right? Like,
or like he's gonna know you called, or like,
right.
I mean, it's like there's like a whole series of movies. I mean, most older movies where like they're made in the current time period at the time, but like Home Alone would not work at all right now, because Kevin would have a phone. She'd just be like, "Where are you?" And that whole plot would fall apart. But like, and same thing with this. Like, there's like a few pieces like that you're like, oh yeah, this is not present day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ooh, okay. What if? Well, I'll ask Joe this, because this is getting rebooted today, but like a new take on it. So it's like trying to make it work in today. One, I'm actually super down to see that. Like, because again, how do you make it work?
Mm-hmm.
But two, what director would you put in charge?
So they did a remake. I think they did a remake with Christopher Reeve, who played Superman.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was in the 80s maybe, or 90s. I don't know, but I've never seen it. I still want to watch it, but it's not the top of my queue. But I'm curious to see that. And then 2007, I think Disturbia was very much based off of this movie.
Oh.
Which I loved at the time, but then I revisited it a couple years ago. I was like, this isn't that great. But
that's disappointing.
I know. But so that one was very, very loosely based off this movie. Not gonna say
I'm
loosely.
talking, this is called
I know.
Window, and this.
Well, so I don't know. Why I love Jordan Peele so much, because I feel like Jordan Peele has a Hitchcock aspect to him, his directing at least. That's what I think. Like, they have something similar. I don't know what it is, but there's something about it that reminds me of Hitchcock a lot. I don't know. I would love to see Jordan Peele take it, but if we're gonna go a different director, man, that's a great question. That's a really put me on the spot here.
Do you think there should be a remake?
I mean, no, but I would love to see, like Jesse said, I would love to see a nowadays, like with phones and stuff, because it always fascinates me. And like something like why I liked the new Twilight Zone. Well, it was okay. I didn't love it, but it was fine. Is because they incorporated the technology really well. And that was another reason why I like the new Invisible Man movie, is because they incorporated technology super well in that movie. So I would be curious to see, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's what. Yeah, I assumed you wouldn't even want to reboot it. That's why I was like, it's already happening.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is
locked it in.
This is definitely one of my favorite Hitchcock movies. It's just like I think it's a beautiful movie. It's the color grade. I love how they colored movies back then, like the really saturated, bright.
Well, that's why I too wondered if it was colored after the fact. The way
it might have been. I honestly don't know.
Yeah.
Could have been. It's also interesting because like going back to like how we were talking about how things used to be, like the jewelry salesman, like that just doesn't happen anymore. Like,
I mean, even just some of the like, I feel like a lot of the whole idea of like, oh well, you'd never leave anywhere without your jewelry. Like,
right?
Don't be ridiculous,
Yeah.
And it's like, well, today I would be like, I don't know their life,
Hmm.
But so like, maybe it was a little more ubiquitous back then, and it's like, you could, base you could be like, yeah, something's off here.
Right.
But
I read that the ballet girl, Torso, her name is Miss Torso. I read that I think she like stayed in her apartment, like at the set apartment, basically. She stayed in it for like the whole time of shooting, just to like stay in there, because apparently they had running water and stuff on that whole side. So apparently some of them actually stayed in their set apartments, which was interesting.
It's kind of cool.
And then Hitchcock was like, he didn't like give her any direction on like the dancing. He was basically like, do whatever you want. Like, this is all, just do how you normally, I don't know. I thought that was funny, but I
was
also
gonna say
loved how her like husband came home at the like her military husband came home and he was like this short guy, like not good looking, like
because that's still in movies today, man. It's like the guy can just be this like old, ugly, out of shape guy, and it's like we got to get the hottest, like
I know. I love Grace
superstar.
Kelly. She's great. She's awesome.
I was
Have you
gonna
guys
say
seen
with
many?
the leaving with the jewelry. I feel like that's maybe now if you like, but they left without their phone. What psychopath leaves without their phone?
That's a good point.
You went on the train and you left your phone at home. You know?
That-
Dun, 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 dun.
I heard they don't even go on Twitter. Like,
A bunch of weirdos.
He did kill the dog though.
I was just about to say that was the worst part of the entire movie.
hold on, that whole when the dog is just laying there and they're like, "Oh my god," like screaming and stuff, and then they just like throw it in the basket to like have them carry it up.
And then the people at the party were like, "Oh, okay, let's just get back to the party."
Yeah, and it's like, all right,
Yeah.
happens.
I mean, I wouldn't know what I would do. I don't know. If I was like kind of drunk and like, I don't know. I mean, of course I'm gonna be sorry for the dog, but like if it was just like a random dog, I don't know. Maybe I'm just a terrible
I'd be
person.
like deer in the headlights, like what just happened. But I mean, I'm gonna like be honest, like when that did happen, I was like, wait, what? Why? And I didn't really know why until he explained it. Like,
Gotcha.
oh, like look at the flower. And I'm like, what? I mean, but like, once he says it, you're like, oh, okay, that kind of makes sense.
Mhm.
But, it kind of hit me out of nowhere. I was like, why did they kill the dog?
And just leave it.
I was like angry about it, Don't do that.
Yeah, he wasn't the most clever villain. Although I don't know. I don't know if he was like. I feel like he didn't plan on killing anybody or anything. I think he was just like
not premeditated in the moment.
I think he was in the moment because he
Also,
was clearly.
just close your blinds, though.
I know. That's why I think he's not like a seasoned killer. I think he's just like a one.
Guys,
done
it was
type
like
of
hot
person.
outside. Okay, there was a heat wave. He's got to close the blinds.
Oh, I love the shot of when they were looking across and he just had the lighter and he was smoking the cigar. Oh, that was so good. I love the lighting in this, and like when like the big suspense really hit me was when when Thorwald calls Jimmy Stewart's character, L.B. Jeffries, when he calls him and he's like, oh hey, he thinks it's the detective, and he's like this, then he realizes it's Thorwald, and I was like, oh shit, like that's when like the suspense were real. I mean, the suspense was throughout, but I was like, I don't know, I love that part because it works so well every time I see it. It's like it's incredible. I love it.
There's also a few, like, I was waiting for like the shot where like Thorwald would like look over and be like, oh, I see you. And eventually it did happen, but like it took a lot longer than I thought it would.
Right.
Which again, I love that he's like, he saw us, turn the lights off. Like,
right. It's like,
he saw you, man. You had your giant camera out.
But like, wouldn't you have the like nurse lady like wheel you out? She just like pieced out. He was just stuck there.
She's great. Thelma Ritter is awesome.
Yeah, she was good.
Did you guys know, like, were you aware of like what the plot was or anything when you went into this, or did you like read about it or anything? Or
I had no idea.
Oh, I'm curious because you Jesse, you did, but Joe didn't. I'm curious to hear what you're kind of like, what you thought was going to happen and what actually did happen. Like how you, like, were you surprised at all, or were you kind of like, okay, I figured that was going to happen?
I think I probably had it. It was probably Joe found it more suspenseful and was into it than me, probably because I had knew the plot going into it.
Right.
So it kind of just felt like this is a lot of nothing going on.
Yeah,
we're just in this apartment, the whole, kind of like, I kind of know what's gonna eventually happen next, kind of deal. Yeah, definitely don't recommend it if you're this far in the podcast. You've already ruined that though, but
yeah, don't read about it. Don't watch the trailer.
Yeah, there might be something to that, because like I sat down and like, I mean, the thing that probably kept my attention is like, you'd be looking in an apartment for like 5 or 10 second chunks, and you'd be like, okay, I can kind of like see what's going on, and it was always something different. So like, it's not like yes, you're panning over the same apartment, so like it's not completely different, but there's always something different to look at. So it's almost like you're playing like Where's Waldo with yourself, of
Yeah.
like what's different, because you kind of already know what's coming to a certain extent. So I think
Right.
that like almost made me want to pay attention more, because I'm like, what am I looking for? You know, I don't really know what I'm looking for.
And that's why I love like paranormal movies, like jump scares, because you know it's happening, but you're like, where's it gonna pop out? What's gonna happen? I love that. I get so excited. I'm like, whenever like they enter a dark room and you just hear the music, I'm like, oh, I can't wait. What's gonna happen?
I do love that suspense build up, actually.
So do I.
Of like, especially if you're like in a theater or like with friends, you know, just the like, I don't like it when I'm around, because I think I like the part of like watching everybody experience it. You know, when you're like, it's about to happen, it's gonna come. Right. Well, we don't know when.
I would love to see this in theaters. That would be so cool.
In 1954.
Of course, when it came out. But I mean, I would still love to see it to this day. But
if there was a time machine invented, is that the first place you'd go?
No, I would see a couple other movies before, but this would be up there. I would probably see Psycho. I would love to see The Exorcist.
You just use the time machine, pop out, watch a movie, and then pop back in.
It's like you only
I invented time machine.
But you know, that's what we chose to do. So
now
just watch one movie. I'm done.
Would you? I mean, Joe, I know you've seen a few other Hitchcocks, but are you guys like? Are you open to watching other ones or no? Like, does this kind of make you like, oh yeah, I'd watch a couple more, or does this not really do anything? Or
yeah, I would watch more. To be honest, this is probably my favorite of the three.
Really cool.
I liked it even better than Psycho.
Cool. Yeah.
But Frenzy was good, but it wasn't. I don't think it held my attention in the same way.
Sure. Well, I love his movies because, like, I love these because he has the same theme, basically. Like, it's like not this one, I guess, is a little different, but like, you know, like there's someone wanted. It's kind of like the wrongly accused. That's a big theme in his movies, but he does them also differently, which is why I love about it. Like it's the same plot and everything, but it's like done differently each time. And I think that's really cool to see.
I'd be curious to see some other ones too, because I weirdly feel like if I watched other ones, this could be one of my favorites, which is weird to say because I don't know the other ones.
Well,
but
it's good to know for this podcast.
He's made what, like 3 movies?
Yeah,
one other one, right? Probably.
Yeah, not even that well known. So that's cool. I know. I would just love a neighbor as the piano man, though. I would love that guy as my neighbor. Hearing that music all the time.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Would be pretty good.
Maybe there's like a running theme. Maybe not running thing. I'm just thinking of like the connections to the burbs of like the little community around.
Well, I was just thinking,
didn't really interact with them, but you know, there's like the different neighbor characters.
Well, funny you say that, because I read that Hitchcock only worked in LB Jeffries' apartment and everyone else had earbuds, and he was directing them through earbuds, which I thought was kind of interesting. Yeah,
they had AirPods back then.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
And it's funny because I feel like so many different stories about Hitchcock, like directing style, and it's like I read one that they could tell if he liked one of their takes, like the actors, but like if they didn't, if he wouldn't say it, but if he looked like he was going to throw up, they knew he didn't like it. What I would give to be on a fly on the wall for one of his sets. I wouldn't want to work for him, I don't think, but like
yeah, probably not. I'd rather work for, you know, like Steve Martin. I was like, the whole time I was like, I want to connect Hitchcock to like Steve Martin being the director.
Ooh,
I don't know
if that would work.
I don't know.
Would Steve Martin could be?
I wasn't gonna get there, but
Steve Martin could play LB Jeffries in the remake.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I could see that. What about like a Bowfinger style movie, but like they're shooting the remake of, like Eddie Murphy's in it,
and then they actually release the movie they're shooting in the movie too. They do a double feature. That would actually be really cool if you were making a movie about making a movie, but you actually made a movie in the
like
movie.
a behind the scenes, but it's a feature film. It's
Yeah.
Pretty funny.
Oh my god.
So I
some-
mean, it's a set, so we don't have any locations, right?
No, it is
Unless you go to
based in
Paramount.
Manhattan, though. It is based in Manhattan, and he wanted to shoot on location, but they could obviously you could do much more with like a built set that you could customize. So
Right.
It's Greenwich Village.
yeah, it was like supposed to be Greenwich Village, but I wish it was real.
The only thing I got that kind of gave that away though is when they said the body's in the East River.
Oh yeah, I didn't
I
even catch
couldn't think
that.
of anything else that was like, oh yeah, this is for sure.
Well,
New
he
York.
says, I feel like he says something else. Yeah, oh yeah, something about a train going. I don't remember. There was a couple other instances. I should have wrote them down, but
You could
Yeah.
probably the precinct he asks for. You could probably track
Precinct
that
six.
down to
probably
what
track that
precinct.
down. Yep.
Some real
That's
mystery
true.
stuff.
I think he
Uh,
went to Grand Central because he said something about the train station, and then he said, "Oh, something about Grand." I don't know. I assumed it was Grand Central because it's the biggest train station. So
They should have all. He should have just had a super thick New York accent.
that would be hilarious. That'd be so good. Something I did love is that in the beginning, this is really small, but when I don't know if you guys have had cast. I know Jesse's had a cast. Joe, have you had a cast before?
I broke my ankle once, yeah.
Okay. Well, when he had the itch in the cast, I
Oh,
felt
yeah.
that. I was like,
Super
I was like
relatable.
itching my leg when he did that.
Yeah, actually, have a whole leg cast would suck.
Oh, and then 2 at the end when he breaks his other leg.
Yeah, you can't do anything.
I would be so
That
mad.
sucks.
Oh,
Oh man.
should we?
So what about ratings?
Yeah, let's do it. Well, I mean, obviously, I was gonna go with Windows,
Yeah.
but be more
Do we
creative.
have to?
I mean, maybe.
Do we have to?
I kind of like camera lenses. No, I don't know. Let's see.
I feel like we almost have to. It's Rear Window.
Part of me wants to go Grace Kelly's outfits.
Dismembered body parts that were buried.
Dismembered body parts.
um,
Oh, that's true.
Flowers.
People at the party.
Piano keys,
Band members.
band members.
Rings.
Apartments.
Jewelries. Is that a plural? Jewelries.
Jewelry. Yeah. No, I think it's
Jewelries.
just jewelry. I think it's just jewelry.
Multiple jewelries.
I have 2 jewelries. Oh,
I'm kind of into
could-
it though. I'm gonna,
what? Jewelry?
I just want to make jewelries a thing. Like I would say that.
Should we do that?
I've
Should we
got-
do
I think
jewelries?
we should all do something different. I'm gonna do the number of
Okay.
broken legs.
Wouldn't
Okay.
it suck to have 8 broken legs?
I gotta give this a 9 broken legs.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hell yeah, Joe.
I liked this
smoke.
one.
That makes me so happy.
Yeah.
Jesse.
Who's next?
Oh, it was just a quick score.
Yeah, quick.
1 and done. I love it.
9 broken legs,
9 broken legs.
which is hilarious because where's the 10th leg?
Yeah, where's the 10th leg?
Super bad joke, but whatever.
I'm a 7.
So,
Well,
oh,
7.
all right. That's better than I thought
7.
you were gonna give it. So
-7.
I forgot the little dash in front of the number.
7 jewelries.
All right, cool.
Yeah, I
Not
think.
bad.
Jewelries.
Yeah, I'll just leave it at that.
Is
For
this
now.
is this one that it's like the ceiling is not a 10 for you?
I don't know. I wouldn't say that per se. There's nothing like inherently about this that I'd be like, oh, this just never is going to be a 10. But like, there's part of me that's, again, it's like, I think it's a really good classic, but just like my personal list of movies, it's just like, it's a good,
Yeah,
it's
totally.
solid.
Right.
I think, to be honest, the reason I am giving it a 9 is because, for one, I didn't really know what to expect, and I don't think I expected much. And I was like very surprised at how much I liked it. That's why I'm-
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Cool. That's great.
Joe, your turn here.
I'm gonna go. So there was a scene I think it was towards the end where Jimmy Stewart's character had a perfectly crafted sandwich, and I really wanted to eat it because it looked exactly like the perfect sandwich. White bread, American cheese. I don't know what else meat was on it, but I was like, I want that sandwich. So I'm gonna go sandwiches.
All right.
Um,
One perfect sandwich.
I'm gonna go.
Many sandwiches.
Many sandwiches.
I think I'm gonna go.
Sandwiches.
I'm all for this.
I think I'm gonna go 9.5 sandwiches.
Wow.
Oh Jesus!
That's
Jesus.
a lot of sandwiches. That's a whole spread.
Yeah, I would totally eat all those sandwiches. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna go 9.5. I was at like a 9.2, but I think I'm gonna bump it up because of that sandwich.
Because of that was really good of him to fit that sandwich in. It's a good call.
Yeah, I think for me, it's not a 10 because I feel like, I mean, I'm gonna say this every time, but I wish there was a little more scariness, horror to it.
Oh. Also, wait, the birds,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah,
You've seen the birds.
How
right?
have I know, I was like, how was when I was thinking of Hitchcock movies, did I not think, oh yeah, I've seen the birds, of course. We've done an entire trip dedicated to locations.
That started the app. That basically started the app.
We went to Bodega Bay.
That was awesome.
I just pictured the photo of you next to that like antique Alfred Hitchcock outside that like weird antique store.
Random.
And I was like, oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
How did I not connect that?
Yep.
Big.
Yeah,
I do like
birds.
I like the birds better than this.
Okay. They're about equal for me, I think. They're just different movies. But again,
Well, I was going to
birds-
say they're very different.
very different.
I wouldn't say this is more of a like. I think this is a classic, a good classic to watch. The birds, also a classic, but in like a different way. Like, and I enjoy how weird it is.
I feel like
Yeah,
I need to rewatch The Birds to know if I like it better than this.
Go
I think
segue. Just kidding.
Oh.
I would be like, yes. It was interesting that Joe, you said earlier about like COVID and kind of like how we were quarantined. I didn't even think about that during this movie or when I picked it, but it relates so much. Like I think that's why one of the reasons why I really like watching it. I liked watching it last night is because like I feel like it was just like another watching someone in quarantine, just like having to stay in their place the whole time. So I thought that was kind of fun.
Well, it made me think too. I mean, until I had to think about the dog dying, but I was like, our dogs will just sit here and look out the window like all day,
That's
and
true.
they just love it.
Yeah.
But like, is that what they're thinking? They're like, oh, that guy's a murderer. Like, I mean, that'd be a whole that's the sequel we need, or the remake we need is like
With a
Rear
dog.
Window, but like only dogs.
Air window, air buddy window or something.
Air buddy window, yeah.
Window buddies.
Window buddy.
This did make me miss magazines a little bit because like he's the photographer for a magazine. And I was like, kind of miss. I mean, I know they exist, but like they're obviously not as popular.
Yeah.
But
It
cool.
did make me I mean, with like quarantine, I'm like, it's like now like our windows are like, like social media is just we're watching a ton of windows, except if it was truly like this where it was like social media, but it was
That's
like
deep.
you weren't picking what to post, you were just like your life was being broadcasted regardless, just like whatever you do. Maybe we do like a futuristic, like a Her style, like Spike Jonze does it.
Well,
And it's this
Spike
weird,
Jonze
like-
could do it.
And it's this weird like social media rear window kind of deal.
They've definitely done things similar to that idea, but not like specifically Rear Window or anything. That would be actually super interesting.
All right, guys, you don't need me, but get in touch. Spike Jonze.
Judd
I want a
Apatow, maybe?
producer credit.
I don't have a perfect segue here. In fact, this is a pretty abrupt segue.
I thought you were just gonna say you don't have a pick.
Well,
I thought you bought a Segway.
that would be the best.
Paul Blart Mall Cop.
Yes,
Now I just feel like I have to pick that.
please.
That's literally the Segway.
Great location.
Do I go old or new? I got two. One's older, one's newer. Which
You know me, I'm always gonna say old, but
And I'm gonna say new.
You guys suck.
How old are we talking?
I was gonna say
54
what?
olds,
Yeah, what?
or-
How old are you talking?
2014 and 1976.
Whoa, 76.
They're both like
Wait.
kind of darker movies, but not
I
like.
think I have a feeling I know what your 76 movie is gonna be.
What is it?
Maybe. I don't know though.
Take a guess.
If you
I don't
get
know
it,
if this is
that's it.
76 though. I don't know if it's 76, but
Are they both darker?
They're similar-ish. Actually.
2014
Mhm.
2014 and 76.
Taxi
No
Driver.
good movies
No,
were-
right?
Yeah, Taxi Driver.
Is it Taxi Driver? Yes.
Yeah, I was
Ooh,
between
and then
Taxi Driver and
and let me guess the other one. Let me get Jimmy Fallon and Queen Latifah Taxi.
exactly.
Right?
It's actually like comedians in cars getting coffee.
all the seasons. So.
The entire season, yeah.
All right.
Dude, I literally almost picked that a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, we gotta watch Taxi Driver now.
So
What's the other one?
what's your pick? Yeah, what's your
My other one was gonna be Nightcrawler.
Oh,
you gotta pick one.
isn't
No,
there an
you-
older
you
Nightcrawler
guessed
too?
it. We're doing Taxi Driver.
We are. Woo! Cool.
Is there an older Nightcrawler? Right? Too.
I don't know. I if there is, I don't know about it, but
No, I don't think so. I mean, there's probably something similar, but it's not.
that's like probably peak Jake Gyllenhaal. In my
I mean, he's always peaking, let's be honest.
yeah.
But
He's
dude,
great.
hell yeah, I'm so excited. I have been wanting to watch this for so long.
Have you seen this, Jesse?
I feel like I probably have. I watched a lot of stuff like this when I worked at the video store. It was just like there's a lot of movies like this I watched or just would get.
You put this on at the video store?
No, we weren't allowed to play it in the store. I'm just saying, like, every time you had a shift, you could just like take movies home. You know, so like
Right,
I
right.
watched a lot of like stuff like this, and like the ones I should watch.
Right.
Whereas like when I worked there, and people would be like, "Oh, take this, this, and that," and then I'd go watch those movies. The store we
Oh.
had to play like PG. It could be PG-13 if we had watched it. I put like there was just certain movies like The Social Network, oddly. Like
Nice.
there's certain movies that I just put in every time because I didn't want to like deal with thinking about
Right.
it. So there's certain movies I've watched like 400 times. But no, I did not
yeah.
put this on, unfortunately.
Oh, we got Scorsese, De Niro, Jodie Foster, all their I'm not a huge Jodie fan, but like she's great in like this, Silence of the Lambs. She's got some good movies, but De Niro is so good in this movie. I cannot wait to watch this. It's great because I mean like Joker is they went for the tone for Joker. So like that's why I love Joker so much.
I didn't put that together until right now.
Oh yeah,
That makes so
Todd
much
Phillips, the director, was heavily influenced by this movie. So you'll notice it when you watch it.
Interesting.
You're gonna go, "Oh, Joker, yeah." Cool. I'm excited.
De Niro, Scorsese, The Irishman.
The Irishman.
And this is under 2 hours. It's a Scorsese movie.
It's early Scorsese. Well, I feel like Raging Bull was
Crazy.
long, which I think was
I know usually his movies are forever. All right, I'm into it. I'm in it.
cool. I'm stoked. Yeah, hell
In
yeah.
it to win it. All right.
In it to win it.
Do we have any movie news?
Ooh, what's been
So-
going on?
I know. I'm trying to think. Oh, Quiet Place 2 comes out in like 20 days, 2 weeks.
Whoa.
Theaters
I'm excited for
only, I
that.
believe.
I was gonna say I think I saw that it was theaters only, and I was like, this might be the first one
Okay.
going back. Like, I don't know. I haven't seen any like.
There's been some in
well,
theaters, but
right? But they've been doing like the dual like
Right.
dual release on HBO and in theaters or something.
right.
Or like it's in theaters for 3 days and then.
Yeah.
Right. I'm so pumped for this though. I'm excited. Just more
I
horror
mean,
movies in theaters. So
Vaccinations. We can go to the movies maybe.
yes. And
It
the new
sounds
Saw
like
movie
that.
just came out. I think I don't know when it's coming out exactly, but the Chris Rock
fact-
produced.
They didn't name it An Even Quieter Place though.
No, it's a Quiet
Feels
Place
like a
Part
real
2.
missed opportunity.
I do get it. Like I don't like the title
Just
either.
two.
Like, it's
Just-
a Quiet Place Part 2, which is like
Oh,
come
okay.
on.
Is this literally just take place at the end?
It's
just
like right
continuation?
after the first one. Yeah.
So just part 2. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know where they're gonna go with it to be honest, but
Is it-
I'm more horror the better. So
Is this also still John Krasinski?
I think he's directing it. Yeah.
I was really impressed with
He's-
that the first time. I was like,
Dude, he was amazing.
him can't direct him. Like what? But he did a good job.
Oh, he did such a good job.
I feel like I get most of my news from the on-set stories.
Yeah, I did
That's not-
see. I saw Joe put this in the newsletter. Subscribe to the newsletter.
Hey, newsletter.
But I saw the trailer for the new Venom Carnage
Oh yeah, right.
movie came out. I don't know when that's set to release. I remember like being excited for the Venom movie, but then like pretty disappointed in it. So like I hope they do a good job. Like I want them to do a good job, but
Mm-hmm.
we'll see.
Yeah, I still haven't seen the first one. I still want to watch it just to watch it, but I haven't gotten a chance to.
I
Watch
feel
it
like it could be such like a psycho thriller,
yet. Mm-hmm.
and it was just like kind of like a meh superhero movie or like anti-hero movie.
Right.
I don't know. I wanted more out of it, but
I was kind of hoping it'd be like a horror movie, like a scary movie. Like that's what I was hoping.
It could have been. It could have
Right.
been. I don't know.
Like the new Morbius movie. Like I don't know if you guys know about the Morbius movie. Jared Leto's playing Morbius, the what is it? Morbius the living vampire. It's like a Spider-Man villain, but it's like another Sony movie basically. But it's he's playing. It looks good. It looks like a horror movie, so I'm pretty stoked on that.
Sweet.
I don't know.
Anything
Yeah,
with Leto in it.
Yeah, I know a lot of people give me crap for liking him, but I'm about it.
Really?
Let's go.
Dude.
Oh yeah, a lot of people do not like him.
Because they think he's bad or they just don't like him.
Bad and arrogant, which I
crazy.
do agree he's arrogant, but
Yeah, but
I'm
I'm
okay with
yeah.
it.
I'm saying like personal side, just like
Some
as
people
an
don't like his
actor,
a lot of people don't like his acting either.
They think
or
he's
something.
bad.
Yeah, I respect it.
Hot takes.
I know. I mean, I did say I didn't like Jeff Bridges last one, so maybe I deserve that
This
a little
guy
bit.
over here. He also said the Academy was dumb, so
Come at me,
Come at-
Academy. Oh, we watched Drop Dead Gorgeous. Great movie, based in Minnesota.
oh,
Shot in
yes.
Minnesota. It's like a Best in Show vibe, but it's like a beauty pageant. That was a fun one. I really like that one. Oliver and Company. Jojo and I watched Oliver and Company. I gave in.
Ooh.
I know I was fighting it.
Hey.
And then I messaged, Mrs. Griffin. He was like, I'm not. I refuse to watch that.
Yeah, I will never.
I don't
No,
know.
I
I
broke
broke I'm out
the-
of the loop on this one.
Well, Devin always wanted us to watch it, and we always refused.
Oh, okay.
Just
okay.
because, I don't know why, just because we didn't want
There's
to watch
no
it.
good reason.
There's no
Because
good
we're
reason.
just not doing it.
But
We're
I
so
broke
deep
the seal.
at this point that we have to not watch it.
I know.
Gotta commit.
I forgot I
it
watched
is.
it.
broke. You broke.
I broke, man. I know. I liked it too. The worst part.
I mean, at least you
Alright.
liked it, you know.
Just bleep that part out.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
Uh,
Elton John's the main guy.
Ooh.
John.
Elton John's the main
Elton
guy
John.
because they sing.
I have been rocking out to
Probably
some
would
Elton
like it
John
too,
recently,
then.
so
Yeah, don't watch it then.
all for it.
Cool.
Oh, and nothing super new, but like I feel like all of the HBO's new stuff is like starting to come out that I'm like excited for. I've been watching like Mayor of Easttown, which like I don't know if you guys saw the SNL skit on it, but it was hilarious.
I haven't seen SNL and I don't even know the last time. I've
The
seen
Elon
SNL.
Musk one, the last one, the Philadelphia murder.
I didn't watch that.
Murder, dirter.
Yes, and so good, so spot on.
They
but like,
mentioned the town my grandparents were in.
No way. That's so funny.
It was on the map when they were.
That's amazing.
But that's been pretty good. But like, there's like a new show, Hacks, coming out.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, and then there, like a bunch of new documentaries that, on like the opiate crisis, I think, and like some stuff like that, where it's like never super fun, but I'm sure it's an HBO. It's an amazing doc.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited for. I feel like a lot of HBO content's coming out.
Yeah,
And
they're always
I
pretty
seem to
solid.
like. Yeah, I seem to like most HBO stuff. So
All right, that's a wrap. Excited for Taxi Driver.
quiet on set, action, cut, movie stuff.